Let's go to our second segment, ladies and gentlemen. That concerns this relationship between Pakistan and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, especially on the economic front. Now, of late, Saudi Arabia has agreed to revive its financial support to Pakistan in two important spheres. More in the following report.
The emblematic Pak-Saudi bonhomie has weathered all ebbs and flows of international and domestic politics. The long-standing partners and brotherly Muslim countries stood by each other through thick and thin. The kingdom has reaffirmed the strength of its brotherly relations with Pakistan once again, as it has agreed to provide $4.2 billion to Pakistan on an annual basis in the shape of cash assistance and oil on deferred payments. The timing of this financial largesse is particularly crucial, as it will help Pakistan convince the IMF about its financing plan. It's the second financial assistance package that the kingdom has extended to Pakistan in the past 3 years, as Saudi Arabia has also provided $3 billion in cash deposits and promised $3 billion oil on deferred payments to Pakistan to help it shore up its foreign exchange reserves in 2018. Last year, the two countries' trade reached more than $1.7 billion, of which 74% consisted of Pakistani oil imports from Saudi Arabia, as per Pakistan's central bank data. On a visit to Islamabad in 2019, Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman signed $20 billion in projects with Pakistan. Saudi Arabia is also home to more than 2.5 million Pakistani expatriates, whose remittances form a major portion of Pakistan's incoming foreign reserves every year. Both countries already have deep, objective-oriented and trustworthy defense relationship. Thus, the Pak-Saudi ties is an ever-blossoming phenomenon which will persist in expanding scope of bilateral engagement.
Now, to talk more about the economic relationship between Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, we've been joined by Shakil Rami, who's a leading economist. Shakil Saab, thank you very much to have joined us. We've talked before on Pakistan's economy and, of course, the relationship it has with Saudi Arabia. But of now, something that had been stalled for some time has been reinvigorated from the Saudi side. That is the financial support to Pakistan, which includes $3 billion in safe deposits and $1.2 billion to $1.5 billion worth of oil supplies on deferred payments. Will this stabilize Pakistan's economic condition? B, will it help Pakistan with the IMF?
Look, the point of the stabilization of economy, definitely it will help us to stabilize our foreign reserves, and it will help to bring down the dollar. So we have seen in the last
of course it is
24 hours, so dollar is coming down now. It will help us. But if you are looking overall economy, that is a big question.
All right.
Because these are the deposits only for the reserves, not for the spending at the economic level, a macroeconomic level. So leave alone the micro, not even at the macroeconomic level.
All right.
One thing and second thing, these we have to pay back. Later,
sooner or later
we have to pay back. So it is not our money. So if we look at on economy, it will not have any impact in the longer term, but in the short term, it will help us to sustain the pressure of IMF, as you are asking. So we will be in a better position to negotiate, because now we have certain amount of dollar with us. One thing and second thing, when the dollar rate will be coming down, it will it will have some impact on the inflation. Because if we were to look at that, to be our main imports at this point of time are the oil and the cooking oil and the some products from the abroad. Due to the lower economic rate of the rupee, the price was increasing in terms of the Pakistani rupee. So maybe if the reversal of this process in the short term maybe give some relief. On bigger level, I don't see it will have any.
What about the oil payments on a deferred basis of 1.2 to 1.5 billion US?
I think we have to see that is good. We are having this in the deferred payments, oil on the deferred payments.
Exactly.
But we have to see what will be the prices of the oil in the market when we will have to pay it.
Okay.
So because it will not be like that tomorrow. If the price of oil is $40 and we have already committed for the $3, 3 years on the deferred payments at this rate, $70 or the $80 per barrel. So we have to see what will be impacted. But in the short term, it will give us a cushion. But the important question is that why we are going for these short-term solutions are the cushion. Not even a solution, it's a cushion. It's you can say that you are putting, you are not going, but you are not working on economy. Because for the last 3 years, you are in a power, you had the time, and had the resources. Even when the PTA came into the power, they have the generous package from the Saudi Arabia, China, UAE, Qatar. So we had that money gone. So why you did not put it or the channelize that money for the production sector? The biggest relief we could have from the agriculture sector. In the last 2 or 3 years, many countries in the world, they are looking for the sustainable solution for their food security, because during the COVID, many countries, especially in the Gulf, they had to suffer.
Pakistan did benefit from the COVID.
But
as well.
we could not benefit because we are the net importer of food. We are not putting the money where it is needed. For example, for the cooking oil, we can invest on the soya bean or other products in our own country, and we can produce that oil in our own country, but we are not bringing that money toward that.
All right.
So one thing, and second thing, if we play in a smart way, we can forge new partnerships in the Middle East. For example, Saudi Arabia, they are importing more than 80% of their food. Imagine the population of 34 million, 34.81 million people. They are importing 80% of their food, and their per capita consumption is quite high as compared to the Pakistan, because their per capita income is higher than Pakistan or many other countries. One thing, second thing, look at the Kuwait. They are importing 85%. Qatar, more than 80%. So we can sell this product, our agriculture product, but for that purpose we have to invest on agriculture.
All right.
What we are doing, we are just trying to showcase the few things, and we just are doing the patchwork. We are not really investing on the sector. And fortunately, we had a very good minister at the agriculture ministry, Mr. Fakhr Imam. But unfortunately, he has not been given the time to work.
All right.
His hands are stitched with the wall. Because you have bring a new advisor on him. So who is looking after that? Look, we have to invest on agriculture according to our development status. The whole policy for the last 1.5 years, I'm listening from hearing here and there, a middleman is responsible for every ill. What is your solution? You are bringing the corporate sector instead of the middleman. That means you are bringing a more powerful middleman.
All right.
You are not trying to solve the problem. The problem is quality input. Are you able to provide that? No. Their problem is better infrastructure for the market. Their problem is they are looking for the better supply chain management. Their problem is they don't have the storage facilities. But what you are offering then? You are saying we are bringing them, giving them card. Look, we have to look at our rural areas. Most of the time, those people don't go to bank. They are uneducated, and they are strictly following the religious belief that they are not going for riba.
But different programs have been initiated for the rural people as well.
That's what I'm saying. You are doing the patchwork. Look, they have given the subsidy of 1,000 on per bag of DAP. You know the statistics, 1.3 million people farm, how they are the less than 1 acre. Less than 1 acre. 2.23 million farms are between 1 acre to the 2.5 acre. More than the 3 million people, they are having this holding which they cannot afford 7,000, 8,000 bag. That indirectly you are giving the subsidy to the big shots, because they cannot afford from the 1 acre, 2 acre to buy these costly
So in fact, what
inputs.
you're trying to say is that the main economic focus should be on these small farmers who form the bulk of the agriculture sector in
Agriculture
Pakistan.
sector, and give them targeted subsidy, not the blanket subsidy.
All right.
Our subsidy style is a blanket. They're giving it to everybody. One thing, and second thing, we could also avoid this economic turmoil in this situation, or in the future also, if we go for the sustainable industrialization.
All right. And what do you mean by stabilized industrialization?
Industrialization. Look, in the form of CPAC, in the second phase of CPAC, that is all about industrialization and agriculture. Unfortunately, we are spending more time in the senseless statements or something like that.
All right.
But we are not really working to provide the facility to the special economic zones, and we are not facilitating the businessmen from the outside and within the country. Facilitation does not mean give them everything incentive. No, at least you have to smoothen your processes. If they have to get electricity connection, if they have to get the other utility connection, it should be provided at his footstep.
And it should be prioritized for them.
Prioritize. How many companies are involved in the registration of business or industry? On top of that, they have to get the security clearance.
All right.
So in this context, and you were talking about this, you can say the help from the Saudi Arabia. How many times we will talk about that? It is not a matter of to celebrate or so we be very happy. It's a matter of grave concern. We have to look at that, a country which
But it does provide a temporary relief for a sort of
it will
short
provide
term.
in the short term, but we have to work on the long term and sustainable solution. God has given us the opportunity, resources, and the opportunity in the form of the CPEC. Not only CPEC, China is also building a relationship in other sectors. For example, before
technological zones as well.
before CPEC came to Pakistan in 2010, the total investment of China from private company and government company was the $15 billion US. Like Huawei, like Zong, they are not CPEC company. They are other industry, higher Pakistan.
true.
So, but we have to plan and execute with the wisdom
All right.
so that we can achieve the target.
Now coming back to a little bit back to Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, how important do you feel is also the role of the Pakistani expatriates that are there in different fields, working in different fields, and the remittances that are they bringing back? Because this is what the government is also stating, that the remittances are going to a level that is that has not been seen before.
Look, if you ask me about Saudi Arabia and the remittances question, I think we must be thankful to Saudi Arabia. They so many times came to rescue us. And they are also giving us remittances for the long time. Our huge labor force is working there. But the question is how we will sustain that labor force there.
All right.
Why I am saying this? Because according to their Vision 2030, they are transforming their economy. They are diversifying their economy. In the diversification process, that's mean in the green development. And they are they are moving towards the services industry like tourism, like hoteling, like for those areas, there would be need of the skilled labor force. You cannot send there the unskilled labor force, which we were doing for the last many decades.
All right.
So if we want to sustain that, because if we don't invest on the skill of the people, then we will not have any reason to criticize Saudi Arabia tomorrow that our labor force is not there. Because everybody, they want labor force according to their own need, not our needs. If we want to send our labor force in the future, we have to identify according to Vision 2030. So what skills would be required? Number one,
Because there's a lot of emphasis on that Vision 2030 in Saudi Arabia.
but they are. So we have to look how much it would be required in the hoteling, business services, like the services at the airport, like the tourism services, like how many people will be required in their education sectors, how many people will be required in their health sectors. We have to look at that, analyze, and then plan.
All right.
Now we have to start imparting the skills at this point of time. Don't look that in 2030 when every skill will have the skill and then we will start the program.
All right.
That would not be a wise decision. And then we will not have this, I don't think so, because most of the time people start to talk about, oh, look, our friend is sending back. No, we have to look their market, what they need.
And cater to those needs.
Go those needs. If they need a driver, we cannot insist on the cook.
Of course, it needs to be as per their needs. What about the different agreements that were signed between the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, whether it be that on economic, commercial and technical cooperation, whether it be the MOU that was signed between the Federation of Pakistan Chambers of Commerce and Industry and the Council of Saudi Chamber of Commerce and Industry? Do you feel that these agreements could be utilized on to their best so that Pakistan could, increase as its exports, as you very well said, to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia as per their needs?
Look, we have to look the detail of those all agreements. Okay, what is, and apart from that, there is a big institutional framework we have devised. That is I think the council we have created under the chairmanship of Crown Prince and the Prime Minister of Pakistan. That is a business council.
Yes.
It's something like that. But for the last 2 years, that council did not do anything substantial thing. One thing and second thing, Umar, we have to look where we can make the big business. One area which can give us a huge business. One, I have already talked about the food.
Yes.
And other area, that is a defense. Because in the Vision 2030, they said in 2016, they were only producing 2% of their defense needs from their own resources. But up to 2030, they will go for the 50%.
All right.
And Pakistan have deep relation with Saudi Arabia.
There's also the agreement of security cooperation that has been signed between
and
the two of
Pakistan
them.
a lot of things to offer, jet, missiles, weapon, ammunition, anything. So we can make a lot of space there, and Saudi Arabia is under pressure from the West right now, like the Biden, what the Biden is doing. So they are not sustainable friends. Pakistan can be a
And
sustainable
Pakistan
friend.
has been a sustainable friend to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, so has
And
the
trusted.
kingdom been for Pakistan. So they should work together so that both can benefit from each other.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Shakil Rame, to have joined us and to have talked about the different issues that pertain to the economic woes of Pakistan and how Pakistan can use this time and the potential in order to further cement its relationship in the economic field with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Thank you very much, Shakil Rame, to have joined us on that.